All right, we got lots to do with the distinguished House member from Ohio, Mr. Jim Jordan, who returns. I have not seen. I got to say, Happy New Year. I haven't seen you in so long. I think you're avoiding me, Mr.
Good
Jordan.
to be with you, Larry. Not at all. Good to be with you.
It's wonderful to see you again. So, Jim, let me just start with, lots to ask you, but why do you suppose, just off the top of your head, Joe Biden is out there predicting what day the Russians are going to war with the Ukraine? I mean, on about 5 different levels, I don't understand that.
No, I don't either. I thought your monologue was right on target. But remember, this is the same foreign policy team that gave us the debacle that was the exit from Afghanistan. And remember, these same individuals, Jake Sullivan, Tony Blinken, Wendy Sherman, Bill Burns, those were the same people who were in charge back in the Obama administration when we had the tragedy in Benghazi. So it probably shouldn't surprise us. I mean, it's sad for our country. It's sad for the world. But it shouldn't surprise us that they're messing this up as well. You're right. We need sanctions. They should have been on right away. But when you start from the wrong when you start from the wrong perspective, right from the get-go, projecting weakness from the Oval Office and giving in on this Nord Stream pipeline to Putin, I think from that point on, it's been all downhill. That's why you can't start and project weakness like this administration seems to do every single day.
Yeah, I mean, you get back to years ago what we used to call the U.S. as a paper tiger. I mean, I think that stuff started under the Carter administration. And, of course, the similarities between Biden and Carter are regrettably quite numerous.
And it revolves around energy, as you rightly put energy. You take the right energy policy because energy is the key to the economy. It's a key to it's why inflation is so high, because it runs through our entire economy. So, yeah, when you start from the wrong perspective and the wrong starting point on energy, you get these problems. And, of course, we didn't have this under President Trump, because President Trump and Secretary of State Pompeo projected strength from the Oval Office, from the White House, all the time.
Yes, they did. Hillary Clinton is in town giving a speech, actually just around the corner, I'm told. I have a tweet from her that will interest you regarding the latest revelations from John Durham. The quote is, "Trump and Fox are desperately spinning up a fake scandal to distract from his real one." So it's a day that ends in something, The more his misdeeds are exposed, the more they lie. Okay, so she's saying we're just it's a coin of phrase, trumping this up. But on the other hand, the Durham, I want to get your take on the Durham story, because, the Durham thing, I think, shows with great clarity Trump really was spied on. People said he was crazy when he talked about that. At the Trump Tower, Jim, at his one of his apartment buildings on the West Side where he did not live. But then even worse, as this internet guy got into the executive office of the president, into the White House, which is very serious businesses. I mean, you're talking felonies and treason and Lord knows what. What do you make of this? And I want to add the player, Jake Sullivan, right? The national security advisor, who was putting out this crap, and now he's negotiating with the Russians, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah. No, I think the first takeaway is we were right about this all along. President Trump was right when he said in 2017 he was being spied on. Bill Barr said it in 2019. He said spying took place and there was a basis for his concern about the spying. So, and each time that those statements were made, the press and the Democrats, oh, no, that's not true. Well, we knew it was true. And now, of course, Durham has more than confirmed that. And he's pointed out the fact that it goes right to the Clinton campaign. What I find interesting is this tech executive one, this Jaffe guy, because there was a piece in the New York Times that said, oh, no, he was doing what he was supposed to do. He was on contract. If he saw something that was of concern to him, he was supposed to raise that concern. Well, let's just assume for a second that's all true. Why did he raise that concern with the lawyer from the Clinton campaign, Mr. Zussman, and also communicated it to Mr. Elias, the lawyer, the chief counsel for the Clinton campaign? If he was concerned about it and there was a real issue there, he should have went to the FBI. But he didn't do that, Larry. He went to the campaign, and then Mr. Zussman takes this information to the FBI. And again, not just anyone at the FBI. Who does he meet with? he meets with Jim Baker, the chief counsel. So that's what's unusual about this and why I find it so troubling, not to mention the language Durham used, Larry, where he said that we were looking to create an inference and a narrative. You know what we call that? We call that framing someone. They were trying to frame the president of the United States, and it goes right to the Clinton campaign as evidenced by the filing from Mr. Durham last Friday.
Now, with all that, this guy, Jake Sullivan, helped to sell that. He was out there marketing that. Okay, he says, this is the most direct link yet between Donald Trump and Moscow, blah, 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 blah. And then he says, I love this. He said this publicly. Computer scientists have apparently uncovered a covert server linking the Trump organization to a Russian-based bank. Well, that's what you just described. That's this guy, Jaffe. He's no computer scientist. He was engaged in that. He had servers. He could infiltrate the internet, and he went right into these Trump places, including the White House after the election. And this guy, Sullivan, is out selling it. My guess is, Jim Jordan, Sullivan helped to sell it to the FBI. Sullivan helped to sell it to the CIA. You know, he helped to sell it to the DNI as well, because he was a foreign policy guy. I'll bet you he was out there marketing it. Now, that's a problem, isn't it?
Well, it sure is. If he did that, if he was in the know from the get-go on this whole pattern, this whole operation, if he knew that, then I think he needs to be held accountable. We don't know if he knew, but it'd be hard to say that he didn't know. I mean, again, they were trying to create a narrative. If he was in on this from the start about creating this narrative to frame not just anyone, but a major political party's candidate for president, and then the president-elect, and it looks like this went all the way into the time when President Trump was actually president after January 20th, 2017. So if that's all true, of course he should be held accountable. We don't know if all that is true, but the fact that he was tweeting about it in a timely way seems to indicate he might have known. We'll just have to see what Mr. Durham comes up with.
No, you're quite right. He gets a fair trial, although they never give us a fair trial. But he kept using this phrase, computer scientist. You know, computer scientist,
sure looks suspicious.
Mike Keister. How's that?
Yeah.
Jim Jordan, you really have to come. Yeah. You got to come around more often. This is such a pleasure to interview.
We will.
Thank you, sir. See you soon.
Thanks for all you do, Larry. Take care.